Hello students, in the last period we had a great discussion about the romantic movement in England. You know that romanticism is a withdrawal from the outer experience to concentrate upon the inner experience. Romanticism has been defined by Goethe as the German poet. When it has been compared with classicism, he says romanticism is a disease and classicism is health. So it has many characteristics. It gives importance to imagination, subjectivity, aspiration and individual innovation. It tries to deal about the everyday language. It doesn't concentrate on that is about the diction. It doesn't want to add very lofty language. There is clarity. Even a farmer can understand the language of the poem, just like by Wordsworth Daffodils. Anybody can understand the language of the writers. So the language, there is clarity and individual styles. They have their own styles. It has been not limited. They are not going to copy anybody here. They have their own style here. And they concentrate upon the humanity, childhood, primitiveness, and society as corrupting influence. Their slogan is return to the nature. Nature, antithesis of materialism. Here they don't give importance to the materialism, they give importance to the natural things, just like the sunrise, sunset, trees, animals. Even the smallest insect in the nature has been noticed. They talk about the lamb, they talk about tiger, they talk about even the smallest insect here. And nature as mystical and sublime. So nature occurs differently to two different persons. Wordsworth finds beauty in nature and he says we have to learn a lot from the nature. And Coleridge finds imagination and supernatural things in the nature. Keats finds beauty in the nature. Shelley and P.B. Shelley finds something very strong in the nature. And you find that Scott finds history in the nature. So they find sublime things that's more beautiful than anything else. Nature is a teacher, guide and a friend to them. They have been addressed as nature philosophers, particularly Wordsworth and Coleridge. It has been emotional, then energetic, it has been changing, and you see sometimes the supernatural things. When I talked about Coleridge, I told that he gave more importance to the supernatural things. We come across supernaturalism in Coleridge's poems, that's Kubla Khan, and regarding incident, and everywhere you see the supernatural things have been given much importance in the Coleridge poems. It has been an antithesis of classicism. So some authors have been regarded as pre-romantics here. Return to nature played a very prominent part in the revival of romanticism. Suffocated with a cramped and crowded city atmosphere, people longed for the freshness of nature. However, it was in the seasons 1730 of Thomson's that nature came into her own for the first time. This is the first really important poem in which nature, instead of remaining subordinate to man, is made the central theme. The seeds sown by the Thomas Grieve and flourished in the poetry of such poets as Gray, Collins, Burns, Cowper and Crabbe. They have been rightly called as the precursors of the Romantic movement. Gray's famous poem Elegy is characterized as romantic romantic melancholy. Melancholy is the sad feeling at the sad fate of the humble humanity. But all these naturalists treat only the external claims of nature. They do not yet give to her a separate life and a soul. This was left for Wordsworth to do along with Coleridge. Then Cowper, however, is very near to Wordsworth, which he sees a soul in all things, and that soul is God. Blake was also the first to introduce the romantic note and mysticism in English poetry, and all nature is a window to the God. The first generation of the Romantics, also known as lake poets, their attachment to the lake districts in the northwest of England. We have William Wordsworth, who came from the Lake District and was the leading poet of this group, whose work was especially associated with the centrality of the self and love for the teacher. And he loved nature and he found a duty in nature. According to him, nature is a teacher, philosopher and a guide. Wordsworth and Coleridge emphasize the aims and the objectives of the new poetry. Coleridge pointed out that he would treat the objects and incidents in a supernatural way. Wordsworth, on the other hand, was to deal with the subjects taken from ordinary and commonplace life, but so as to cast over them by the magic power of his imagination, the charm of novelty. The former would make the unfamiliar familiar, and the latter would make familiar look unfamiliar. The old pseudo classic poetry was now definitely a thing of the past. The characteristics of Wordsworth's poetry. He just concentrated on imagination. Imagination, which is the cardinal characteristics of Romanticism, which is employed in Wordsworth poetry for the revelation of a sense of mystery and uncommonness in the ordinary objects of nature and common life. The ordinary objects are so heightened and glorified by the poet's imagination that they seem completely transmitted and transformed. He adds a new light of imagination to what he sees and hears. Just like one of his poem, just quote, "The light that never was on the sea or the land, the concentration on the poet's dream." The ordinary things of life and nature thus assume new appearance and acquire a new charm under imaginative treatment of the poet. Nature, as I just told you, that one of the world's most loving, penetrant and thoughtful poets of nature, his vision of nature is comprehensive and all-embracing. There is hardly a sight of sound that is not reflected in some beautiful way in Wordsworth poetry. His poetry is of nature is characterized by accuracy of observation and truthfulness of the representation. He is content to describe the bird, the flower, the wind, the tree, the river, mountains just as they are, and is content to let them speak of their own message. Wordsworth only sees clearly and describes accurately various aspects of the nature, but penetrates the heart of things and always finds some exquisite meaning that's not written on the surface. We can remember his daffodils. There is then also the solitary reaper. There is hardly any natural phenomenon which has not glorified by pointing out some beautiful that was hidden from our eyes. According to Wordsworth, nature is moral teacher, guide to a common man, She is both law and impulse, and kindles distress. She is a comforter and consoler of man. Nature is the abode of both peace and joy. Wordsworth recognizes life in nature. She is a radiant manifestation of divine. Then he also talked about human life. Wordsworth's poetry of man is marked by lofty idealism and undoubted optimism. Man and nature are correlated in his poetry. Man, diverse from the nature, has no existence. He is very life of her life. He views the whole of human life from childhood to manhood. Glorifies childhood in his famous Ode on the intimations of the immortality. Childhood's nearest to God and nature. To him, child is the father of the man. You have to notice this. He says, child is the father of the man. The kinship with God and nature, which glorifies childhood, ought to extend throughout the man's whole life. We find mysticism to this natural philosophy of man. Wordsworth adds a mystic element. The common things in nature and human life are symbols of eternity. To discover beyond the diverse forms and phenomenon of nature, the one inseparable and changeless. This was the mystic note in his poetry. Both nature and man must be spiritually discovered. In Tintana Bay, he writes that he feels a sense of sublime, of something far more deeply interfused, whose dwelling in the light of the setting suns and the sounds of ocean and the living air, and the blue skies in the mind of the pain. So Wordsworth's best poetry is mystical and spiritual. You can see a poetic art. It was a bold experiment. He successfully employed the lyric, the ballad, the sonnet and the narrative. The Prelude, that's the name of a poem. The Prelude is an autobiography in the poetic form. He has a kind of middle styles and its best has graced the dignity and the heart's searching simplicity and certain magical enlightenment of his phrase that's all his own. His works